Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, one and all of you, to episode 6 of, let's see, there we go, good job, of Rosario Vampire episode number 6. Now, again, realistically, you want to know what episode I should have been on right now if I was doing this properly? I should have been on episode 20 right now if I had done this properly, but so far we're nearly 2 whole weeks behind schedule in terms of Rosario Vampire, but then again, this, again, as you're going to find out, by just watching the show yourself, you're going to find that it's a bit of a bit of a drag to get through sometimes, and also I kind of like needed. The reason why I've got my hoodie on the back of my chair is that I wanted something a little bit, soft to rest my head against for this because, well, you remember how last time I was talking about how the show has a big problem with just filling in their episodes with basically nothing because there's some of the plots they choose are so thin and could be summarized in about 6 minutes that they have to drag or surgically add things that just don't belong. Well, this is what's... bear that in mind, especially for what's going to happen in episode 6, because this one has kind of the opposite problem. So let's begin. In 3, 2, 1, and... Okay, so you might think it's starting off... Again, it's really interesting the way this episode starts out with just the ambience, the red sky. It's a little bit ambient, you might say, but be prepared because it doesn't last. Oh, see, there's the lips there. We could end the episode. Okay, no, it's not over. You gotta love how the fact that we went from something actually a little bit terrifying, and now all of a sudden we're continuing with this logic of just set of harassment of Skune, I suppose. Yeah. Also, again, don't take note of Mocha of Kurumu's scheme to steal Skune. Don't worry, it goes nowhere as you're about to. Well, yeah. Also, just for the record, I'm gonna kind of keep commentary a little bit on the down low for some episodes because there's only so many times I can add about, obvious quirks about animation. Well, at least Guinea has the sense to, not pimp out an 11-year-old by just, at least, modesty is what I'm saying. Also, please take note of, well, take a wild guess as to who the monster of the week is going to be. No pun intended. Do I even have this thing turned up? Yeah. Also, take note of what he said about throwing yourself in harm's way. He'll come back to contradict this later. Okay, you know how I just went from I'm not going to make any complaints about this, but actually I'll tell you what, I'll play this while this is going on. It's easier for me to hear what I'm going to say. It's because usually what's going to happen, what should happen is that, well, one, you want to draw, if you feel as if there's a story going around where you may be caught in the loop in it somehow, you want to try and distance yourself away from this as much as you can if you were the guilty party. If you're not guilty of anything, then just go ahead as normal. But yeah, as you're about to find out, They mentioned the news about the peeping Tom about, what, like a minute ago, and within 58 seconds, they already revealed basically who the peeper is. So already we're not even a third of our way through this. They've already obliterated the suspension of disbelief because, well, who on earth do you think else it's gonna be? I'm not even giving anything away because it's that obvious, and what you're about to work out is that, well, Gine is just gonna, Gine is just basically gonna try and, catch Skune in the loop here, even though there are obvious problems, right? Yes?
Okay.
What? Right, sorry, where were we? Also, something else I don't necessarily get about this. I would understand in some way why Mocha would be kind of mad at Skune, but why exactly would Kurumu technically be mad at Skune? I mean, she's the one, I don't know, I don't know how the best way you could say this, trying to pimp Skune out, so why would Kurumu have an issue? I mean, Yukari, notice how Yukari doesn't have any sort of reaction to this, but because that's going to be quite telling for what's going to happen, because, well, okay, forget it, no, never mind. Also, Skune saying, yeah, stuff like that is not going to help. And then we get this scene as well. Please note, ladies and gentlemen, they're going out of the way to... these are... Oh, and there's this. So, again, 2 minutes later, they dropped it again that Gine is obviously... The show doesn't have any semblance of tension or drama or mystery. Yeah, in case you're wondering, I don't need to censor that because there's nothing to censor, because there's nothing discreet, but... yeah. Also, that's just for the sake of, like, plot convenience as well, for Scully to be there. I'm going to start keeping track of how many times they're just going to drop the ball by saying that Gine was behind this all along. So that's 3 times already. So let's just keep track. 3. In fact, actually, we could say 4 when, where Inamoka was talking to Mocha earlier. That's at least 4 times, and I'm counting. Okay. There's a round coming in like 5 seconds, so, Okay, right, here comes the rant anyway. I'm gonna, like, play this. I'm gonna do the rant very quickly. What happens next is very straightforward. Skune's standing on the drum and he's being told to look through the window. Take a good guess as to what is through that window. guess, just take a wild guess, and you will say, maybe it's the girls' locker room, and you would be right, because, as you say, I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad, because we saw Gine decided that, you know what, I'm gonna use this to my advantage to try and, you know, just call Skune out on obviously something that was a coincidence before. However, the fact that Skune he does this without a thought. He just goes through with this. No questions asked. He just accepts this and absolutely has no qualms or anything else to say about this. He just goes through with it without a second thought. Skune has gotten dumber since the very first episode. He's not improved in any which way. Skune was smart enough to believe that he was in a world full of monsters, that if anybody found him out, he would have been killed in episode 1. We've now gone from that to Skune willingly being set up and somehow thinking no bad could come out of standing on a drum looking through a window, which it looks highly suspicious in any scenario. How... It's just... It doesn't make sense, because one, why would anybody go through with this? Second, okay, I make that 6. Why on earth would Gine just drop dialogue like this to you know, this episode is you know the episode Homer Badman, where everybody is convinced Homer Simpson has now become some sexual pervert through a very unfortunate misunderstanding. This is kind of like that, minus anything clever being said, anything different, empowering, dangerous, reflective. This is just like, it's not so much part of the story what happens. The plot isn't the story in this episode. The plot is just there to be there. It's just there for something to happen. And that's not as... I'd imagine a story there's going to be some like progression, or there's going to be something we're going to learn about some of these characters. But there isn't anything like that. And this next scene, as you're about to work out, makes no difference either. Let's forget why Mocha just decides to randomly hang out on the roof at the middle of the night for some reason or whatever. I don't know what time this is. That's 7 times Gine has done this. Well, the episode has done this. Eight times. Also, I don't know why, but I don't particularly think they beat him very hard. And there's this part. Now again, take it from me, ladies and gentlemen. What exactly do you think is going to happen now? The only thing they could have done to sort of wrap up all the loose ends in just under 6 minutes. This show is a lot of things, but when this show... when any show for that matter starts to become this predictable, there's no point getting interested in literally anything, and you're about to see why again, because watch how somehow Kumu and Yukari managed to deduce the truth of this story. Newshound, that's 9 times. Also, Gine sweating, I'm going to count that 10 times because, you know, that looks shifty anyway, so 10 times. Well, technically, no, that doesn't mean Gine is guilty. It just means that Skune was innocent. All this proves was that Skune was framed by Gine, but it doesn't specifically say that Gine was the people in the first place. It just showed he was trying to somehow throw Skune in it for the sake of a story. It doesn't necessarily state that You know what I'm trying. You know what you get what I'm trying to say. They can't prove that Gine was the one spying on girls. All he did was just put Skune into the frame. And then they do this shit. By just... I'm counting that as 15 times they do this. And they didn't even deduce that Gine was the one who did this. They just deduced on the fact that they just point him and then immediately this happens. There's called plot convenience, and then there's just playing things out in the span of 21 minutes because we don't know what to do. So we're going to do this in the only way the show understands, by plot convenience. Even the Bat admits that there's no story here. He admits it's just how it's going to be. Yeah, also, just... But, okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, please, let me inform you of something very, very important. The show clearly stated outright that werewolves are S-class monsters on the same level as vampires. So, in all seriousness, Gine should be just as powerful, if not stronger, than Mocha, than perhaps. We've got 3 minutes left of this episode. 3 minutes. So you're going to have to work out exactly how long this fight is going to take. Because... Also, wolf chow, what does that even mean? It even sounded like he said wolf town, which it's just dumber. It just is. Everything about this episode is dumb to think when I think about it. So basically, Gine is the original werehog. That's good to know. 112 seconds, so just under 2 minutes. There was no fight here. Gine did not stand a chance, and it was not even for the fact that he was weak or he made a mistake. It's just, again, due to plot convenience of the cloud covering the moon. Which, again, another problem this show has is that it's demonstrating that Inamoka is a little bit indestructible. She's just... I don't really want to call her like a Mary Sue because it's a little bit more specific than that, but nothing gets in her way, and it means that there's no real fight at the end of any episode. Like, things are resolved only through violence, apart from maybe in episode 2, and then again maybe episode 3, but then again there's just no real resolution apart from people saying that they're going to stop what they're doing just because they got beat up a few times by Mocha and saying in your place or whatever it is. Again, also, why did they did not have Skune up on the ladder there to put the things up? That was just to avoid that thing from happening again. That's a thing the show could have, addressed. Well, that went on literally... I'm going to keep this very short because we've been here for a while anyway, and I don't really want to keep guys any more of your time than I need to. But episode 6 is so far my least favourite episode in the show. The plot is... There's no story. There's no tension. There's no build-up. There's no payoff to any of this. The ending felt... They had to just resolute all of these things altogether. Also, how exactly did... I mean, they didn't exactly present Kurumu as the smartest of characters anyway, but somehow, well, it's really one of the first times that Yukari's actually managed to display anything quote-unquote intelligent in being able to work this out, which unfortunately is something that is going to be very, very rare from this point onwards. Moreover, there's just... What else am I meant to say about this? We all knew who the monster of the week was when in about like 5 minutes into this, and we already knew how this was going to go, and that's it. That's the end of the episode. nothing's really been resolved. Nothing's been said. Nothing's been apologized for. Just why? What was that? It just. You know how I said sometimes I feel like they just waste animation or just fix it on things that don't matter to save time and effort? How about having a whole episode like that? Like I said at the beginning, the episode 6 has sort of the opposite problem to episode 5, in which episode 5 had a very thinly veiled plot that they had needlessly to drag out. Episode 6, however, was they dragged it out as long as they could, and then suddenly they had to realize they had to wrap everything up. So it goes from slow, and then really, really fast. That wouldn't be a problem if there was actually things to get invested in from beginning and middle. So because there wasn't, because they just blatantly didn't give a shit in telling us or revealing any tension or any sort of twist to this story whatsoever, it's just you're sort of glad it's finally over. And that's going to be another huge problem. I'm gonna rant until the cows come home by the time we're finally done. But for the meantime, I'm done. We've got 20 episodes left of this show, so let's just get to it next time. So, hope all of you guys have enjoyed. Again, for what it's worth, I didn't, not really. And I'll hope to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, bye-bye for now.